This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. See, that's why you need the moderator to come in every once in a while, because I'm just laser. You love the Bitcoin shirt? I shorted. I promise you, I shorted at 52.7 yesterday. I can show you guys if you want. I shorted it. As of right now, I have about 40,000 short on Bitcoin. I made one mistake. The one wrong read I did, and it wasn't, the charts were saying where it was going. Like, again, the charts change. There's probability, just like with sports betting. All you're doing is tilting the odds in your favor if you're able to read the charts clearly, and see the story that they're telling you. Because all those bars represent are fear and greed. Red is fear, people are selling. Green is greed, people are buying. And it just repeats itself, human nature, over and over and over and over again. That's why I went down to learn that GAN seminar, where, believe it or not, it's a mathematical formula that was found on a cave in India, like thousands of years ago or something like that. It has to do a lot with planetary alignment. And before you guys say Ace has lost his mind, listen, I'm not into any of that horoscope stuff. I never believed in any of that. And, you know, being like Greek Orthodox, I even don't, that kind of stuff, I was never into it. But seeing the data presented to me, to think that cycles don't affect people, planetary alignment doesn't affect people, you're nuts. It absolutely does. Like, that's been proven. The data is there, and people tend to do certain things. Cycles tend to repeat themselves all the time. So anyway, as far as Bitcoin goes, I look at it as simple as this, because I've been through more than one cycle now. The only mistake I made was reading the chart, and not reading it incorrectly, but not knowing that BlackRock was going to announce that they're going to have a Bitcoin ETF. The week that I sold at like 25,000, the last few that I bought at 15, I have a long-term holder, like a HODL, whatever they call that shit, that I don't sell, that's in cold storage a little bit. But other that I trade, I got out at like 25,500, 26,000. I made money because I bought it when it was like 16, 17, around there. But a week within me selling it, BlackRock announces they're going to have the first Bitcoin ETF. So immediately the market bounced on that news. Now, no one has that kind of information unless you're in the, CEO spot at BlackRock. So I don't blame myself or the charts or anything like that. That's just terrible timing on my part. But I still believe that long-term cryptocurrency is obviously not going anywhere, and Bitcoin especially will not go anywhere. And the younger generation is only going to use it more and more. And with all these ETFs, there's more liquidity, more money will get poured into it. So the long-term outcome, if you guys are young, anyone under 40 years old, you'd be absolutely crazy not to have some crypto, especially, most notably, I'd say Bitcoin and a little Ethereum, but definitely Bitcoin for yourself, your kids, long-term, because just technology changes. Just think about it. How many of us use checks anymore? When I was growing up, there was commercials. It was called COD. You would see the commercial and you could order something called COD. That was cash on delivery. So someone comes to your door and brings you the product, and you got to pay them the cash at the door. Well, then they went to checks. Then they went to credit cards. Now they went, to debit cards. Well, eventually crypto moves quicker than anything else, and we're all about speed. That's why Uber works, and that's why so many of the new technologies are all about not even making our lives more comfortable or better, but actually just making them faster. Think about how pissed off we get if you have to wait 5 seconds more for a site to load. We're just so used to shit happening quickly. So I do believe in the future of Bitcoin, and I think anyone would be foolish if they had children or if they're young themselves not to have some. But we also know that all assets move in cycles. And if anything, we've seen with Bitcoin, it's one of the most volatile assets on the planet. I believe it is the most volatile asset on the planet. And what does that mean? That the volatility means that it could shoot up 500% and shoot down 500% just as easily. And we've seen that happen over and over and over again. And that's why I think nothing goes up in a straight line. This is a great move. It's done. And here, we'll look at it together. I think that's great. Why not? We got 10 minutes. Here, I'll share my screen with you guys. I bought some lithium this week too. That's doing pretty good for me. Here, I'll show you guys. We're family here. Shit, where's my screen saver? Screen share. Oh, there it is. See, I'm an idiot, man. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. All right, there's Bitcoin. All right, that's the weekly chart, right? Let's move it there. Let's blow it. Oh, I need to move this box down. There. It's over. All right. All right. There's our weekly chart, right? You guys can see the weekly chart. There it is. It's moving. Okay. This is our 10-minute chart. That's because I day trade at 10-minute and hour time frames. And see, right now, it's even set up to go up again a little more. This is a great bull flag. Look at that. A right angle after going up, it should go up like this a little more. And I actually shorted it. I bet against it again. But again, days. Look how many days straight now it's going up in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight up days before a drop. Like, you're going to get those drops. Sure, it still has momentum, and there's a lot of liquidity left. That's why you're seeing that trajectory move. But watch this now. Okay, here's where we're going. If you bought here, you're good. If you bought here, you're good. Even if you bought here, you're good if you get out soon before any collapse. If you got in here around 40, you made 25%. Well, how much do you want to make? Like, get your money, get out of there. It's not going to go up to here, man. Like, look, we've seen it before. Sure, it goes up, it comes down. Goes up, it comes down. Let's look at the monthly. Nothing's going to change. Like, that's just what crypto does. Like, to think it's this time, sure, maybe it even goes up to 60, 69 again, 70, reaches an all-time high. But to continue to go up forever if it doesn't have the help of the economy is almost impossible. And you see what's happening today. You saw today, we've now had back-to-back prints, CPI and PPI, that were hot. We get one more, like the jobless claims or the unemployment, and you're going to see the market start to tank. They're trying to keep it alive and up through the elections, but there's only so much they could do. We're what, 34 trillion in debt with the interest rate at its highest that it's been. Like, do you know how much interest we're paying just on the debt? Forget paying off the debt itself. It's not good. That's why invest here. You get your chance, get gold. Gold, gold, gold. You know, again, have some crypto, but there's a reason the central banks have been accumulating gold for the last few years. It hasn't broken out yet. But all those commodities, when the dollar starts to tank, and we all know it will, that's what all fiat currency does. The dollar will be no different. We like to think it will, but it won't. Every society, the same thing happened. Like, we think we're going to be different, but I promise you, the Romans thought it's never going to end. The Greeks thought it was never going to end. The Egyptians thought it was never going to end. The Russians thought it was never going to end. The Chinese thought it was never going to end. The English thought it was never going to end. And now Americans think it's never going to end. You're not going to be a superpower forever. And the fact that our fiat currency has lasted this long when they continue to print it means that we're actually defying probability as we speak, that in the next 5 or 6 years, the debt payment alone will be so high, they're either going to be forced to confiscate from the public our money via taxes or some crazy nonsense, or start World War III. By 2030, 2029, 2030, that's the obvious. Like, that's just the math. After the election, things going to go to shit for like a year. Things will be bad. The economy will be bad. We'll get that recession, that hard landing everyone's talking about. But then things will be good. Just survive that. There'll be 2 or 3 years where things look like phenomenal. We're out of the storm. God bless America. Everything's great again. But you know what's coming up? That's 2029. And what happened in 1929? We had the Great Depression. We're really coming up on another 100-year cycle. We saw a 100-year cycle happen with a pandemic that happened. And like those things tend to happen. We don't know why, but things do tend to work in cycles. And it's so strange that the quants, the economic quants who are studying the math are saying that in about 2029, 2030 is when we'll run out of money. And that's also lines up with when was the 100-year cycle of a depression. And I know economists that are saying around that time, we're going to have the worst economic times ever seen. Like it's going to make the depression look like a good time compared to the collapse of the dollar. Because you got to remember, the whole planet revolves around the dollar. So, but you survive that apocalypse in like 2029, 2030, it's nothing but bright lights. So that's why if you could accumulate between now and then some of those assets like commodities, just get yourself a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver. You have time. Like you don't have to go crazy. Just every month. Like I always say, pay yourself before anybody else. You get paid $1,000, you got to pay yourself, even if it's 10%. Try to get to 20%, but at least 10%. You got to pay yourself at least 10%, like it's a bill. You pay your cell bill every month. You pay your cable bill every month. You pay your car payment every month. You're going to pay yourself bill every month too. Take that 10%, that $100, and force yourself to buy a commodity with it. Precious metals, tiny bit of silver, put it aside, get a tiny bit of gold, and just stack it for the rainy day. Hope the rainy day doesn't come, but if it comes, your family and your future self will thank you for making that decision 5 or 6 years from now. I promise you that. Get some money in commodities like that. Precious metals, a little bit of crypto, but crypto will be the first thing rich people dump because there's the liquidity and it's the easiest to get rid of. That's why we see the dumps in crypto. Like it's hard to get rid of real estate. You can't do it overnight. You can't do it in an hour. It's hard to even with stocks. If you're talking about having millions of shares, you can't just offload them like that. Those guys work with brokers that slowly get rid of their shares. So the only thing you could quickly dump is crypto. That's why we see every time there's some kind of economic hit, crypto gets the hardest damage because that's right away where the quickest liquidity for people that have it to get cash. But if you have a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, a little bit of art, real estate, those are the things that are going to skyrocket in price that normal people won't be. Normal people can't afford houses now. Can you imagine if the dollar starts to collapse and doesn't have the power it does now? And again, I'm not hoping anything bad happens. I'm not hoping for that shit, but you got to be prepared. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is the worst prediction I've ever made. I swear to you, for my sake, your sake, our loved one's sake, I hope I'm so wrong. But in case I'm not, like, do yourself that at least a little bit. You're not doing yourself any harm. Look at the gold chart. You're not going to lose money. You're not going to, it's not like you're pissing it away. You're not gambling it. You're going to have something of value, something that's been around for thousands of years. And where's it going to go? It's scarce. So I'm telling you, it's a good thing to do that. So, all right, we went economic. Now we got, do I buy physical? I buy physical gold. I am in doubt. Great question, Brad. Great question. Love it, love it, love it. That's how you got to be thinking. I do right now. I am invested because I day trade and swing trade. I am long gold right now in an ETF, but I also buy physical because I'm concerned if Armageddon does come, what's going to happen to the dollars in that stock market? What's going to happen to all that stuff? Will it, will they cash us out? Will they, like, I'm just thinking worst case scenario, have that gold so you could feed your family. Like when all else fails, you could barter gold. People are going to take gold. That's one thing you'll be able to trade for food. Again, I don't mean to get crazy. I'm not one of those survivalists or anything like that. I'm as optimistic as they come, but I'm also a realist. And I've learned enough over the last few years of the economy because I've got a point in my life where I'm not in wealth creation mode. I'm in wealth preservation mode. I'm older. I'm so older than all you guys, I'm sure. So now I'm at that point where I'm trying to preserve what I've worked so hard to get to. And the best ways I've learned to do that is, again, those commodities and not over betting my bankroll, then doing the right thing. So I love you guys. Let me look at any questions right here real quick. Was the seminar worth it? Absolutely. I learned more, great question, more in those 5 days than ever before. In fact, we mapped out I don't want to act nuts. I'll show you real quick. You guys are going to love this. Here's that calculator thing. This is the game. This is what a game wheel is right here. This is the map that it was found on a wall, and it's got like 3 different wheels. And based on where the peaks, the highs and the lows, the resistance and support on certain stocks, certain dates, there's a lot to it. You can find really, really good price points, extremely accurate price points. And just because it was his last time sharing it and he's retiring, like he gave us a blueprint from this year through 3032 or 3033. He said how to protect your families. And this is coming from a man who at 40 years old is retiring because of the game, because of this at 40 years old, retiring because, he's real religious and he believes that, he made that money to go do good in the world. So, he's like, I got a boat, I do my fishing and I'm happy, but me and my wife going to take our RV and go around the country and see if we could help people. How do you not love a guy like that? That's who should be getting wealthy. And what does he do before he goes off into the sunset? Let me teach some people how to get successful too. And more importantly, let me give them the blueprint to protect their families. And hopefully I'm right. Like, I do not love a guy like that. And he's not going to be 100%, but here's what I could tell you. I've been trading with him for 2 years and I've done nothing but make money. So, the numbers don't lie. And I'm not going to go pay 20 dimes for a seminar if I don't think I'm going to make positive in it. Like I told you, when I went to trade that time with the hedge fund, it cost me like $7,000 for 3 days, but I knew I was going to leave there ahead. You know what I mean? Like I knew I had enough in my account. If I go trade with these guys who are blasting away all day scalping, how am I not going to make money? It's worth it. But like education costs, have I made my money back yet on that? Not yet. It's just last week, but I'm very confident I will. I'm very confident I will. So I know I don't own any Bitcoin Cash. I don't own, the only altcoins that I own is Ethereum and a Solana. I had Solana. I dumped most of my Solana. I wish I did. It went up another 5x again. But I do have some Solana because I thought it was so undervalued when that scumbag, SBF was so connected to it. And I believe that it was just his name that was really connected to it. He wasn't the tech behind it. He wasn't the brains behind it. It was just his name connected. So to me, that was just noise. And that big dump had me buy it at real lows, but I didn't think it was going to go up to $100. So I 2x'd my money and I got out. Like I didn't even think 200% for me, that's a score. That's where I'm a trader. And I do some long-term investing. Like I said, I'll buy some physical gold and stuff, but I know my personality is that of a trader. I'm not a patient man. And someone like me is going to get burnt on Bitcoin, like long-term, because I like to hold it through the ups and downs, peaks and valleys. If I'm not trading, I'm not comfortable. But as far as other altcoins, like if you believe in the protocol and the team and you think it has purpose, I say invest in it. Just don't, like anything else, you don't overinvest. Just like with sports betting, you don't overbet your bankroll. Like you don't want to be 100% in Bitcoin. You're crazy. Even if you believe it's the best asset, it's going to take over the world. You're gambling. You're taking a risk right now. Like that's not a reasonable thing to do. You say, you know what, I'm going to put, I believe in it so much, I'm going to put 30% of my money. And even that is more than you should. But you know what, you're a true believer, go 30%. But you got to have yourself some other things working as well. And I think that's the one mistake a lot of investors do. They fall in love with their investment. And again, like they say, you know, don't marry it, don't date it, just trade it. That's what you're supposed to do. Like it's a vehicle for you to make money. It's not a vehicle for you to fall in love with. You don't own it. You didn't build it. You know, they make us feel like, oh, you own stock, you own a piece of the company. The fuck you do? What do you have? 50 shares of Tesla? There's 8 billion. What do you own? Like, you know what I mean? You own the factory and you like, hey, that chair's mine. The fuck it is. Nothing's here's yours. Like, so again, if you have the patience for long term, do it. And I think people should invest long term. I do. But again, that's another allocation of money. It's diversified. It's not what I do with everything. All right. Yeah, 8-week delivery, baby, COD. Neil knows. Those are the fucking days, right? I never did it. You know, we were poor. Those were on like the bottom channels too. That sold that, like, you know, those cheap gadgets that now you see at like 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning. That's what was sold there. You know, the stuff that you know you don't need, but you buy anyway. All right. Let me see. Do you ever take a question about sports betting? And I promise we're going to get into the results, because this is the most important time to have this call, when I'm coming off a losing Super Bowl and we've been losing this week. It's not, when things are going good, you don't need me. You just need to remind yourself what to do. But when things are going bad, that's when we all need to make sure our mindset's where it needs to be. Because we know until we handle the negative side, we're never going to celebrate the positive side. We'll never be around for it. Okay. Do you ever take a play solely based on the line? Like if the line was too short or doesn't make sense. For example, last night, Colorado, UCLA plus 1.5. It didn't make sense. So I blindly took UCLA. I don't think that's what you did. I think you handicapped the game and you concluded that the line was off. It was trying to get you to do something. It was enticing the market to go in a particular direction. And you thought, if I go the other direction, I'm probably going to do pretty good. I think you handicapped that. I don't think you did it blindly. I really don't. I think that, because like I do that all the time, where something jumps out at me like, wait, this line's off. Sure, I'm not going to bet it just for that. I got to see, why is it off? Oh, wait, there's no injuries. There's no weather. Okay. They're not coming off anything where there's recency bias. And once I start going through that process and I'm able to draw that conclusion of, wait, are they trying to entice a certain side? Do they have risk on a certain side? Where did the line open? Where's it sitting? Once I go through that projection, what do they call that? See that when you have English as a second language? Anyway, when you go through that, then I draw the conclusion. But just to solely say, like, to see, oh, wait, Carolina Panthers are 2 touchdown favorites against Kansas City. Wait, there's something wrong here. I got to take the Panthers. They're giving the Super Bowl champs 2 touchdowns. If I didn't see injuries and crazy shit like that to warrant it and support it, then I'd have to think something shady and what's going on. But yeah, I won't blindly do it. Sherlock, I trade on TD Ameritrade. Interactive Brokers is good, because TD Ameritrade is good because now Merrill bought them, you know, so they're a big thing, and I've had nothing but good experience with them, to where I even have 2 accounts with TD Ameritrade. And as far as trading, the charts I use TradingView. They have a free tradingview.com. I'm sure they have a free platform. I pay for like just like the line services. There's free line services, and then there's pay line services. I use the paid charts because I use certain indicators. I want real-time quotes on prices. But as far as precious metals, what I would do is Google buy physical gold, and look into some of the bigger companies, like Hartford Gold is one of the bigger ones. I know offhand, I bought from them and had, it worked out well. There's a couple good companies. Already, if you look at the bigger ones, do a little bit of research. Again, the internet's a great thing for research. You'll be able to find physical gold very easily. The only thing I would add is don't buy anything collectible. When they try to upsell you, just say no. You want gold, that's it. You're not trying to collect it. You don't care if it's an eagle on the front of it or a fucking dick. Excuse me for the ladies that are in here. It doesn't matter. All you care is that it's 99.9% gold. And that's it. Whether it's a Krugerrand, whether it's, Canada, the Canadian, you'll see they have the maple leaf. They have all different ones. They're going to try to upsell you on, oh, this is a collectible. It's 3,000. It's going to shoot to 6,000. It was only 1,000. Okay, then you fucking buy it. That's what you tell them. If it's such a good deal, you buy it. Give me the cheap shit. I'm happy. So just make sure you're only buying gold, pure gold. Again, it doesn't fucking matter what's on it. You're not collecting it. You're stacking it just like your dollars. Do you care if it's an old $100 bill or a new $100 bill? Of course not. They're both going to do the exact same thing for you. So why would you pay more for the new one than the old one? Just get gold. That's all that matters. All right. Now with some questions added. Oh, all right. Last question. No, I wish I knew, man. That's a great question, Nick. Everybody asks me that. And I said, if it was my own stuff, I would even sell it. You know what I mean? But I can't because I pay for it, So it's like, I can't buy these guys shit and then make a lot more money than probably they do off it. That's the only reason, or I swear I would share it everywhere. You know me, I would even put it out on Twitter for everyone to use. I want you guys to beat the books. Like, it isn't like, again, I'm going to get good numbers. I'm going to make my money. I know I'm plus EV. I'm good with that. But as far as, what's it called? Being able to just put it out there, unfortunately, I can't. Yes, sir, Brad. Yeah, I'm thinking you guys are seeing them. Forgive me. The question was, if since I pay for the subscription to find out what each half point's worth in every sport, and I get updated, every 7 to 10 days, is there any free or any way that information can be accessed by anyone? And that's what I was just explaining. It isn't mine. And since I paid for it, like, they don't just give it to me and say, hey, do what you want with it. I just don't feel right selling it or even putting it out there since they charge for it. And that's all right. Again, I would. All right. Let's get into it because I even got a good discount for you guys. When we lose, Wager Talk hooks it up and shit. And when we win too, that's the good thing. All right, here's where we are. It's been a bad week, that's for damn sure. And what's weird is that I thought we won yesterday. I thought we should have won. I just didn't give it a lot of plays because overall, like, the moves that I bet for the groups that I work with, they're up for the week. So that's a good sign. That means I just got to do better at my job. Like, when I'm losing and they're losing, it's tough. It's tough for us to turning and winning week during that. But if I'm, if I'm losing and the account, the sources are still profitable, I'm going to figure that out. Like, that happens all the time. And a lot of times it's the other way around, where they're losing, but I'm winning because I'm choosing the highest EV, the right spots. That happens a lot as well. And then it balances out the other way. So here it is. Before the last call, if you remember, we were at 57 units. That was good, man, 57 units. And we were over a 5% ROI. Going into today, we lost over 30 of that. So we're at 21 units with only a 2% ROA. Long-term 2% ROA, good ROI. Over 2,000 bets, I could definitely live with that. But in the short term, that's awful. That's awful. Give me 1 second. In 1 sec, I just got to answer this. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We're now at 21.9 units. So what does that mean? It means, Ace, you got your ass kicked. No, the truth is, yeah, I got my ass kicked. First, the Super Bowl didn't go well. I think we turned a profit in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls heading into this one. And usually, even if we lose the side or the total, the props bail us out. I wasn't as confident, you guys can tell, into the props this year. That's why we didn't have 30. 35 like we had in years past. That's not an excuse. That's just saying I'm kind of glad now I didn't have 30 or 35, or we may be looking at being in the negative right now. I'm just keeping it real. I'm always going to keep it 100 with you, because I told you, if you're in this room, our goals have to be aligned. If they're not aligned, I'm going to disappoint you, and I don't want to do that. I don't want you mad at me. You're free to go figure it out, and I pray to God you do, and I hope you make a score and you do it your way, and I swear I'm cheering you in. I'm cheering you in. But the way I do it is I need to turn a profit for the year. I take a certain amount of capital that I allocate to bet on sports, that I don't use for real estate, that I don't use for art, that I don't use for precious metals, that I don't use to trade, because I believe I'm going to turn a good enough profit in sports to compete with all those other investments, to keep me diversified. So for that investment to be profitable, to make it worth it to me, on December 31st, I need to be up money. Now, of course, now you could say 365 days. Does it really matter when you start? If you start from February to February, or March to March, or January to January, does it really matter? Well, we choose January to December in this industry as a way to keep score. But of course, I'm looking at the last 365 always. That's what matters to me. From that point, whenever you check, what do? The last 365. So if your goal's to be up money for the year, ours are aligned, and I can promise you, more times than not, you will not be disappointed. In fact, only one time since 2017 was anyone disappointed. One time since 2015, actually, has anyone been disappointed. Every other year on December 31st, we were able to say we beat the books by following this simple method. Can you believe I'm still fighting this flu, but you guys get me hyped and going? Okay, so how do we bet? How do we survive when we lose 30 units? How do we survive when we have that negative run, so that when we do go on that hot streak, we're able to profit? We manage our risk correctly. We don't overbet. We bet 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, and 1.25% of bankroll. And it's based on the rating at Wager Talk that we use of 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%. Those percentages are not what we bet. Those are ratings. These are what we bet. 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25. So we're never betting more than 1.25%. If you have $10,000 and me telling you the most you're going to bet is 125, if that's not enough for you because you're a baller, well then step to me with 100 dimes and I'll tell you to bet 1,250. You want to ball, we could ball. I'll tell you how to bet dimes, 2 dimes, 3 dimes, 5 dimes a game if you want. But I'm going to instruct you in a way where you actually make money, not where you gamble. Because sure, you could take that 10,000 and start betting 1,000 a game like a real G. But you know who's going to have your money? The bookie. The bookie's going to have all your money. And the only fucking question that remains to be answered is how long before he gets it. Will you lose it immediately, or will you go up first? Because if you're over betting your bankroll like that, there's not a win percentage in the world that's going to help you turn a profit. Again, only if you stop and never bet again. But if you have intentions of betting tomorrow, next week, next month, the only way you're ever going to survive and not go broke is by not over betting your bankroll. I proved it to you last year over the summer when we lost 30–40% of the bankroll. And I promised you, if you follow along and don't lose your cool and just continue the same bet size, we will dig out of this hole and we will become profitable after enough bets. That's the math. That's the math. We have an edge. We're plus EV. After a number of bets, we will be up. Just like after a number of hands, you deal me enough hands, I'm going to beat you in blackjack. There's nothing you can do about it. They found that out at the Hard Rock Seminole this last weekend. That there's nothing you could do about it. If you deal me enough hands, I'm going to take your money. That's fact. They know that. That's why I can't play. And the same thing with sports. If you let us bet long enough, we're going to take your money because we have an edge. With that said, along the way, there's going to be negative variance. And most people can't handle that. That's why 99.5% of sports bettors lose money. That's why 99.5% of all gamblers have negative lifetime earnings. 99.5. Are they all dumb? Are they all just reckless? Of course not. Some of them are the most intelligent people on the planet. But not even they can defy probability. That's the difference. I don't give a shit if you're a rocket scientist working for NASA. If you're betting 10% of your bankroll per play, you're going broke. A street kid from Philly can tell you that. If you're betting 5% of your bankroll per play, you're going broke. Again, I don't give a fuck how many courses and degrees you have from MIT. You're still going broke betting 5% of your bankroll per play. I'm guaranteeing you that. Yes, the street kid from Philly is going to be right again over the MIT graduate because you can't defy probability. It's not a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of math. So I'm telling you, I promise you, whether it's my stuff or another winning source's stuff, it's worthless to you if you don't bet size correctly. And I'm the living example of that because few people in this world work for the sharp betting syndicates and wise guys that I have over the last 30 years. Very few people can say they moved money for this particular group of people over a 30-year career. I'm fucking proud of that. Okay, very few people can say that. And I promise you, I lost more money with access to those guys' stuff at a time when we had the biggest edge than any of you guys lost betting sports. Even with square shit. I lost that off sharp stuff. I was broke off sharp stuff. That's living proof that it doesn't matter how good your handicapping is. It doesn't matter what your win percentage is. You could have the sharpest shit and you're still going to go broke if you don't bet it correctly. And that's why I stress this so much. That's why I love these chats when we're able to cover this stuff even more than when I'm giving you bets on a night like tonight where there's nothing to even really bet. Like, we don't chase. There was a couple plays today, so we bet them. But if there wasn't, we were going to pass. I do this for money, and I want you to do it for money too. Because again, our goals need to be aligned. So what does 21 units mean? Let's figure that out. Now, if you have $10,000, 0.25, $25. You're betting 25, 50, 75, 100, 125. So 25 times 21 units, we're only up $525 off the $10,000 bankroll. So that's a 5% increase on capital. Right now, that's what they're giving you on a good treasury bond. If I couldn't beat a treasury bond, you shouldn't be in this room. That's the truth. If my long-term results aren't going to make you more money than a 5% treasury bond, then you probably should leave this room, take the money from your subscription, take the money from your bankroll, and put it in a treasury bond and not even waste your time with me. That's Ace keeping it real with you. I'm confident, though, we're going to be able to do that. We did it last year, and we did it 7 of the prior 8 years. As we sit right now, #1 in NBA, #3 in college basketball, number one in MMA, number one the last 365, and up 233 units the last 365. So what does that mean? Oh, wait, 233 units, 0.43. When in doubt, zoom out. So let's zoom out, Ace. Let's zoom out. Last 365 days, what has happened? We haven't crushed it. Have you heard me bragging on Twitter about the hot streak, the 11 and the 15 and O's? We haven't really even encountered that in the last 12 months. We're going to have our run. It's inevitable. I mean, even if you're a losing bettor, you're going to have your run. But we've just grinded for 365. We had a couple losing streaks in there. We had one long losing streak in there. But when all the dust settled, we're up 233.43 units. Tip the 4-3 to the waitress and the dealers because they're normal people like us who work hard. 233 times 25, 58.25. So over the last 365 days, losing streaks included, you're up 58% of your capital, above your capital, what you started at. And if you did the right thing and you knew you were going to bet tomorrow and next week and next month, instead of signing up for the day, for the week, for the month, you jumped on the year with me. And that's why right now I'm going to give you guys another 25% off, Ace 25. And I'll even do it to the 30 days or more. Ace 25, get 25% off. So you're getting 25% off as long as you want. Ace 25 for that losing streak, okay? We're going to make that up. It's not going anywhere. Like, we could have started ice cold and now have gotten hot and be up 21 units, we'd be happy. If we got crushed in January and we're down 30 units and right now we were up 21, we'd be happy, right? So what I'm saying is forget about the ebbs and flows of the market. They're going to go like this. What matters is over time, over 365, are we staying above that 50%? That 50%, that's what the treasury bond can't do. That's what so few businesses can do. The art I'm investing with doesn't do that. It does 18% on a good painting. I've had better ones. You know, I had one painting that got me 42%. But again, that was one painting. But this is every year. So again, that's how you compound your gains. Now, those that have been with us the last 365, they've increased their bankroll by 50%. So guess what? They're betting more, baller. They don't have that 10,000 bankroll. They now have a $15,000 bankroll. So it's not $25. It's $37.50. And guess what? Next step, $50. Before you know it, you're betting 100 per unit. And guess what? That's what I started at. And you know what I'm betting now, 1,000 to 5,000. I could afford more. That's not a brag. That's just saying that I stopped myself because that's the most I want to allocate to sports betting. That's why I'm using that as an example to show you that I'm not even needing more outs or anything like that. I'm comfortable. I'm betting 1 to 5 dimes. If I could win 250 units a fucking year, that's $250,000 in profit at $1,000 a unit. I don't need more than that for a $400,000 bankroll. Shit, if I could do that every year, do that for 4, 5, 6 years, you're a millionaire. And I told you guys, 35-year-old Ace was broke. 40-year-old Ace, money in his front pockets. After that, shit done changed. And if I could do it, anybody could. Because few people had less guidance than I had. Again, I had to figure it all out on my own. I got here to Vegas. You know, I'd lost my father. My mother didn't even speak English. I came here to Vegas 25. I just turned 25 years old. I was in Greece at the time. And it was because I read the book Casino. I swear to God. And the only reason I got the book Casino, I probably told this story before, you're probably bored of it, is because I was living in Greece and friends from Philly would come visit me because most of my friends were Greek too. Anyway, my cousin was coming in and one of my buddies was already there. So we go to the airport to pick up my cousin. His plane's late. We go to the little gift shop. I look where the paperbacks are. There's only one American paperback, and it was Casino. And it said, soon to be made into a major motion picture starring Robert De Niro. That's what it said on the cover. I buy the book. I start reading it like within that weekend. We go to the island. We're on the beach. I'm bringing the book with me. I'm reading the book. The book is so detailed. The movie, forget about it. The book is so detailed. And back then, like, I wanted to be a handicapper more than anything in the world, more than anything in the world. So I read his story, and it sounds fucking crazy. And he had the same birthday as me, June 12th. And again, not saying that means anything, but it was just ironic that the character who is real had the same, that inspired me, had the exact same birthday as me. I actually wanted to buy his house at Las Vegas Country Club. It was up for sale. Frank Rosenthal's house that he lived in was up for sale. I just didn't have the money at the time. I checked, called the realtor, and they wanted a cash deal at that time. Like it had the escrow had to clear quick and stuff, and I didn't have any like power like that, money like that back then. But it was cool to look at and shit. Anyway, so, and I was seeing a girl from California that was in Greece too. So I was like, well, I could kill two birds in one stone. I could continue seeing her because she was beautiful and I liked her, and I can live in Vegas, you know, and the morality car wash where everybody gets a new start. That's what it said in the book. And I got on the plane. I swear to you guys, I had my luggage with me. I got on the plane in Athens, Greece. I landed in New York, JFK at night, got on a connection to Las Vegas. On the plane sitting next to me was a UNLV basketball player. He was actually going to Vegas too because he had gotten a scholarship to play basketball there. And I came in August, and that was the school year was going to start. So he was going from the East Coast to UNLV. Anyway, I land in Vegas. It's 2 a.m. I'd never been here. All I had was $600 in my luggage. Didn't know where I'm going to stay. Nothing like that. And back then they had phones on the wall at the airport to each hotel. So you pick up the phone and it would be the MGM phone, the Treasure Island phone, the Mirage phone, and it would go to the front desk and you would ask for a room or whatever. They'd give you the rate and you could make the reservation and then take a cab or whatever to the hotel. So I get on the phone and they're telling me the rates, and I'm like, dude, that's like 3 nights for me. Are you kidding me? I get all the way down to High Hat Motel. I kid you not. High Hat Motel. It was still there years ago. I don't know if it's still there now. I didn't get a cab. Are you kidding me? I got into one of those like Bell trucks that 18 other people get on that get dropped off at hotels and shit. I get on with my luggage. I swear to God, true story. We're going down the strip from Tropicana because that's where the airport is. And from Tropicana, we're driving down the strip and he's dropping off in hotels. Drops off at the MGM, beautiful green building. Go down a little further, drops off at Bally's. To me, it was nice back then. Across the street goes to the Flamingo. I'm like, wow, Vegas is beautiful. A little further down, I'm watching the volcano erupting. I'm like, this is insane. The Mirage. Dude, we go to Treasure Island, more people get out. Finally, we're down to where like the Sahara is. Then it's like me and one other person. That other person gets out at the Stratosphere. The fucking driver looks back at me and he's like, where are you going? And I said, I think it's called the High Hat Motel. And I swear to God, he goes, the High Hat? And I said, yeah, High Hat Motel. He said, okay. So he takes me down to the High Hat Motel, and I kid you not, it was like, next to it was a little like strip. It had like a bar with like 2 or 3 crackheads out in front of it, like 1 or 2 hookers, not hot hookers either. Like not the nicest area. Like, and I go into the office, and there was like a hooker in the fucking office. That they had rented the rooms by the hour also. And I get a room. It was like $40 and shit. And across the street, I saw Boston Pizza. I was like, damn, I hadn't had a cheesesteak in 2.5 years. So I was like, I'm going to go across the street to get a cheesesteak. But I'm thinking, am my shit really going to be safe in that room? So I go back in, take the money, keep it with me, have anything of value with me, go get the cheesesteak. To me, I was kind of used to it. Coming from Philly, I was like, dude, I've stayed in places like this before. Like, okay, I don't have a gun with me, so I don't feel as safe as I would in Philly. But like crackheads and crack whores is nothing new. So it was just like, just don't fucking bother me and solicit me, and we're okay. So anyway, I was too skeeved. I have OCD, so I was too skeeved to sleep. I kind of like sat up all night. And what I did was I took the bus because I saw they had a bus schedule in the office. I took it with me. So I looked at the map and it was the Strip. And I was like, it showed all the hotels. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. So I just take this bus and it just goes up and down the Strip. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to the Mirage, where the people that look like they have money and are having a fun time are, not this freaking depressed place. So I went to the Mirage. And at that time, like I said, I was 25. I was well versed enough, like I had enough street smart in me that I immediately saw that at the poker room, the Mirage poker room at that time was the hottest place on the planet. Like everybody wanted to be there. Like people not even playing wanted to be there. You wanted to hang out there just to see who was going to be there. Like what celebrities playing poker tonight, what pros playing tonight, how much money's on the table. Bill Gates was playing, if you could believe that. I saw Bill Gates at the Mirage poker room playing like 5-10. The sharks were trying to get him to play like 20, 40, 60, fucking 120 stud. It was so funny. So anyway, I was like, wait, I saw that the tourists, what I noticed right away was that a lot of people at that time had luggage with them. So I was like, I put 2 and 2 together and I said, dude, these people just want to say they played poker at the Mirage. Like they're never going to see a hand they didn't like. They're just here to gamble. So if I could play really tight and wait for rolled up aces, rolled up kings, rolled up queens, rolled up kings, and not even play 10s and lower and just wait, you know, jacks or higher, not only will I put in time and get casino rate so I could pay, the room rate will be as much as the fucking hell hotel that I was staying at, but now I could stay in a nice place like the Mirage and sleep comfortably and, you know, entertain the tourists. That's what I used to call it. I'm a good storyteller. I got to entertain the tourists and make good money. And that's what I did. And I knew as long as I go to where in the mix, get me in the sports book. Once I see who the players are, I know the language, I know the lingo. I'm like, I'll find work. They're going to want a guy like me to work for them. So then it worked out. But the first job I took actually was for $5 an hour. I'm not ashamed to say it. I needed work that badly. I couldn't say no. And the guy actually didn't even need help. Real quick, and I swear we'll get into everything, the rest of the stuff. The girl that I was seeing in California, her dad knew a guy here in Vegas, a Greek dude. And she's like, hey, I got a phone number of a guy that owns a pizza store there. Maybe you could get a job. So she gives me his number. And I call him and he says, where are you from? I said, Philly. He's like, Philly? I'm from Philly. Come by the store. So I go by the store. He asks me, who do you know? I tell him. He's like, damn, I know the same people. But we were just there at different times. So he's like, man, I just can't use you. I don't need anyone. And I'm like, fuck, man, can you call me? I don't have a phone yet. I said, but can I check in like every week? And if you need somebody, if someone doesn't work out or anything, I said, I really need work. He goes, you know what, man, I'm almost embarrassed to ask, but I could give you a job for $5 an hour and you could just help everything in the kitchen. You know the pizza business. I said, dude, I know the pizza business so well. You could get rid of 2 guys. You put me on the grill. Like I won the Golden Spatula Award 6 straight years in Philly. You know, I was joking with him. I said, I even wear a golden spatula as a necklace. So I said, just put me on that grill and you're going to see magic you're going to see. So the guy was laughing and he gave me the job at $5 an hour, if you could believe that. And I took it. But within like 3 months, I was managing his store. We became really close and good friends, and he trusted me and shit like that. So that story ended up working out well. Sorry to bore you guys with all that shit. But see, you guys get me going off on one of those rants, and I don't stop. When I'm buying gold or other metals, will it cost more to buy the 1 ounce coin than the cost of metal is today on the global market? Great point. Thank you. Those are the kind of questions you need to be asking. You want to pay as close to spot as possible. So you always want to Google what is the price of gold per ounce. And you don't want to play much over markup. Now, gold fluctuates, but not as much as any other asset. Like gold will move 1% in a day. That's a big move for gold. 2% is monumental. So it does move a little bit, but there's not huge fluctuations. Those take time for gold. That's why it maintains its value also. You're not going to see that volatility. But that's what I would do. I would look to get as close to spot. Now, and whenever what I would do, here's the best thing you could do is tomorrow morning, Google, what's the price of gold per ounce? Write it down. 3 days later, Google, what's the price of gold per ounce today? Write it down. A week later, do the same thing. Start to see, is it going higher? Is it going lower? Now, maybe you buy your first purchase somewhere in between. Now you have a reference of where it's been, where you were, when you were looking to buy, where was that price point around? Now, if you see it dip, you want to start buying again. What you want to do is not pay more than what you already got in for. You want to avoid that as much as possible. What you want to do is try to bring your cost average down. And the only way that's going to happen is if you buy at a lower price than you got in on. So that's why you want to be Googling, so that anytime there's a dip, because the economy will go up, down, they'll brag about the dollar and gold will drop, and then they'll say the dollar's crashing and gold will go through the roof. Like, it has that ebb and flow. So there'll be peaks and valleys, and you want to try to buy in as many of the valleys as possible, knowing you're not going to time it perfectly. Nobody does. So cut yourself a break. If you buy at 1,700 and it goes to 1,600, don't ever try to catch a falling knife, because it could keep falling. Trust me, I've been there, thinking it can't go any lower, it can't go any lower, it can't go any lower. Oh, it's already dropped 90, 98, 99%. Well, it could drop another 99% from 99%. That's just math. Most people don't realize that. But that last percent could drop another 99% more or less. Like, it could be very painful. That's why with the smaller coins, you got to be very cautious. So what we need to do is strictly stay the course. Right now, some of the best times are coming up, right? We have a little lull in the market the next week or two, because people are kind of even this week, the groups that I'm working with, I swear to God, I even text one of my guys that I send him every morning. I take a screenshot of accounts and I send it to him, because he does the same with his accounts. We share information. And I felt bad because he sent me stuff Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today's Thursday. And I'm like, oh, Friday, right? And I'm like, bro, I don't have anything still. Like, they're not working. Like, the guys that I work with out here, only 2 times they bet this week, like on a Monday, I think, and then on Wednesday, they only made like 2 bets. I missed them both. The guys in Philly didn't bet anything except like some European basketball or some shit like that. That was like in the middle of the night. So what happens is, I think these groups, most of them they're not teenagers, right? Most of them are old school like me. And you guys got to remember, prior to the internet and the explosion of sports betting, and prior to even books going offshore, after football, things were dead. Like, not everyone bet every day. It was just football that was busy. Most books would take off after football. In fact, the majority of books would only work until the NBA finals, and then they would shut down and open up again in preseason. They wouldn't even book baseball. But the only reason they started doing it is because they didn't want their customers to walk across the street. Because listen, if I can't bet with you, I'm going to bet with someone else. If I'm betting with them, why should I come back to you during football unless I'm buried with him? So the only time you're going to get my action is when I owe somebody else money. You don't want to be that bookie. So they started staying open. But I think it's just that most of these groups are kind of taking it light this week. And we kind of did. And I wish, again, hindsight is always perfect. You know, yeah, I wish I went lighter, or I wish I didn't give that. No. Yes, maybe I because the accounts didn't lose like we did. I am punishing myself, but there's been so many weeks where we did so much better than the accounts did. So, you know, I got to give myself a pass sometimes too. I'm my worst critic. That's just how I am. I've always been like that. But again, guys, I swear to you, like, even if you're not part of this subscription and you're just here for the free stuff, which is awesome, because this is the kind of content you need to be listening to. Because I'm telling you, please, this isn't a brag. This isn't a brag. This is factual. Again, I'll tell you when it's an opinion, and I'll tell you when it's a fact. 99.5% of sports bettors lose. I had Dave Mason from Bet Online on my podcast a few months back, and I asked him the question, is it true that 99% of sports bettors are losing bettors? And he said, yeah, that was true. That was true. Now with the influx of sports betting and people willing to lay 118 instead of 110 and willing to lay 120 on coin flips and take the worst teaser odds and parlay odds, there's less than 0.5% are profitable. So you have to ask yourself, all that content that you're absorbing, all that sports betting content that you're absorbing, that you're reading on how to handicap, picks on a game, all that, who's it coming from? Ask yourself that. Is it coming from people that are crushing it, the book? Is all of it really coming from that 0.5%? That we're that lucky that 0.5% not only are the only people walking the planet that beat the books, but then in their spare time, they're going to teach the world on Twitter how to do it too? Of course not. Of course not. And whether you like me or not, whether my voice irritates you, whether these beautiful teeth irritate you, whether you don't like my personality and my energy and my nervous energy and my OCD pisses you off or not, the one thing nobody could argue is whether I'm plus EV or not. I give 3,000 picks a year, bro. I don't give 10 or 20 plays. I've got documented 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000 plays at Wager Talk. My numbers are there. The data is solid. I have statistical significance. There is no argument. You could sit across from me and bet me whatever you want every single day. As soon as the game starts, the play and the betting line is available. Everything is time stamped. There is absolutely no argument to whether I'm plus EV or not. So if you're ever going to listen to any free advice, you're going to want to take it at sports betting from someone that's plus EV, because very few times in your life is that going to happen where it is actually coming from someone that's plus EV. And that's why I'm telling you now, don't ever buy points unless you know exactly what they're worth to the penny, that you could say, oh, this one's worth, I should be laying minus 122, but I only have to lay 120, so I have an edge. I'm going to buy the 0.5 point. Oh, this one is only, I should only be paying 116. They want 120. I'm not going to buy it. If you can't say that, you have no business buying points. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, you have no business parlaying or teasing. You already know they're negative EV bets. You already know there is just no realistic way possible that you could place more than one bet at the exact same time, at the exact same property, that's going to be advantageous to you. That's just in fantasy world. And when you put a parlay in, when you put a teaser in, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to put all the teams on at the same property at the same time. So you're telling me in a market that's more time sensitive than most, you're going to be able to beat it doing that? Get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? Stop fooling yourself. You're pissing away money. There's nothing that's going to, it's like the slot machine when you finally hit it. Yeah, it's great. You won a jackpot and you're still down money. That's a parlay when you hit it and you're still down money. I've hit some of the biggest parlays you can imagine and I'm down money. I'm telling you now, save yourself the headache and the losing money. And never buy fucking points. Never tease unless you know you're making a plus EV teaser. Know for fact, just like buying points, that, hey, this is my edge. When I give it out a teaser, I can tell you exactly what our edge is on that bet. If you're laying 110, this is what it is. If you're laying 120, this is what it is. If you're laying 130, oops, you're in trouble because we don't have an edge anymore. If I give out a teaser, I'm able to do that, or I don't give it out. If you can't do that, don't tease. Don't parlay. Don't buy points. Keep it as simple as you possibly can. Straight bet. Stick to those things that they take the smallest limits to. That's where they're least confident. Don't try to beat them on Monday Night Football. try to beat them on a freaking Tuesday afternoon prop. If you're trying to do it on your own and not use a guy like me as a source. Like if you're trying to be a winning handicapper, I'm giving you some advice on how to actually do it. Make sure before you invest any real part of your bankroll, paper trade your bets. Prove to yourself that you're plus EV. After you've paper traded, which means you're fake trading, you're placing your bets, but not for real money. After you've placed 500 bets, if you're profitable, now put out a small percentage of your bankroll and try to do it for real money, because paper trading and real money trading are two completely different things. Because when you paper trade, there's no emotion involved. You lose money, you get credits the next day for free. No sleep lost, nothing. Lose real money, now you're emotional. How are you going to trade tomorrow? Is it going to affect you? So again, they're two different animals. I'm telling you, if you don't have experience, go through both. If you have experience, forget the paper trading. Go straight to the real trading. This is sports betting. I'm calling it trading because that's what you're actually doing. You're not betting. You don't bet. You're not gambling. You're looking for winning freaking trades where you're going to trade your dollars for a bet ticket because that's a plus EV move. That's what you're doing. And it's unfortunately a zero-sum game where someone has to be on the losing side of that trade. So again, there's no friends in this business. That's just how it is. Do those things first and you have a shot. As far as using sources, there's two ways to do it. Have the discipline to find a plus EV guy who's it's so rare and bet size correctly with them, or figure out how to piggyback the hot hand. That's the hardest thing in the world. That's the hardest thing. I've never made money doing that. If you can, I'm a fan. Do it. But again, this is very hard to do. This is a very difficult, very, very difficult venture to take on. Luckily, like I told you guys, I have a network and sources of information that are just not normal to find, to have access to. And that's the only reason I'm able to say the things that I'm saying and not feel like an idiot 6 months from now, a year from now. I told you last year while I was losing that the only reason I even started this subscription because I'm confident in what I can do. I have a big enough sample size and have worked with the guys that I work with long enough that I'm willing to put my reputation, my name on the line and come in here and face you guys every week when all I have to do is put up big plays. 5% on UFC tomorrow. You know how much money I'll sell? A lot more than I'm going to sell doing this chat tonight. That much I can promise you. But for what? Why? For what? Like, why do I want to see somebody think that that bet is so much stronger than a 4% when it's not? So then when that one gets hot, I could brag that I'm 5-0 on those. Yeah, what about the 3s and 4s, bro? What if we add those up? Where are we at? Where are we at? If we add those all up, what if we add the 2s and the 1s too? That's the shit I don't like. I don't like the cherry picking. If you're ever gonna be fucking putting out your results and bragging about them, you better be able to show your cards. You better be able to show your cards. We are doing the UFC next, and then we're wrapping, buddy, because again, Yace is still sick. This was only supposed to be 40 minutes. I have work to do for the UFC. I have notes to send them. They are in Anaheim right now. The producer is waiting on some betting notes from me, and I still have 4 fights to do. But you guys matter to me so much. I swear to you, this is so important that I actually texted him and I said, listen, I can't postpone this. I can't put it off. So it's just going to get there later. So again, I apologize for keeping you guys long. But you know, I love hanging out with you. What am I going to say? I enjoy you guys, man. Like I really do. Some of you guys got great questions. I think a lot of them are questions that others have, and I think some are shy, or again, you should never be shy. Like there's no such thing as a stupid question. You're not supposed to know things. Like you're not supposed to know what a half point's worth unless someone teaches you that. You're not supposed to know not to parlay unless the right people explain to you why you shouldn't put in these teasers unless the right person explains to you why. Like, it's nobody stupid. Ignorance isn't a bad word. You have to be taught it. Like, if I go into a hospital, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about medicine. Does that make me dumb? No, I didn't study it. Study it and you'll know something about it. Sports betting is the same thing. If you don't know all the lingo and you don't know everything, what it's worth and all that, that don't make you ignorant or dumb. It just means nobody's taught you yet, or you haven't run into anyone that's able to teach you, which is even worse. You know. So let me see if there's any questions, then I'll get to that UFC, man. Do I think sports betting as an income stream or as a way to diversify an investment portfolio? I don't think sports betting is an income stream because it's a long-term venture. Just like day trading. Like, if you're using day trading it for income, you're going to get buried pretty quick, because there's going to be times you'll be cash poor, and if you're cash poor, you can't trade. So that's why I like to go. It moves too quickly to take, and there's too much volatility and swings to depend on a weekly paycheck from sports betting. Like, you got to be nuts to like have a big balls to do that, or a big cushion. Like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. To tell a normal human being that I've worked 30 straight days without taking a day off, 10 hours a day minimum, and lost money, they look at you like you're fucking insane. Like you're the craziest person in the world. Like, what we do ain't normal, fellas, ladies. We're not normal. This isn't like this. The rest, normal people don't do this shit, and that's okay. That's okay. That's why, again, it rewards it. It pays so well when you do figure it out. Because if everybody could do it, everybody would do. Why the hell would someone go work? And so many people hate the job that they got to do, and I respect them to do it. Those people who I respect more than anybody else. Those are the people I treat the most. I treat the people that clean the rooms and fix shit, and those are the people I treat the best. That's who I am. That's who I am. Those are the jobs that I had. I drove a cab. I washed dishes. I fucking worked in pizza stores. I bartended. That's who I am. I'm those people. So I give them more respect than anyone else. And because instead of going out and stealing, instead of going out and getting welfare, they're swallowing their fucking pride like I did for $5 an hour, and they're fucking busting their ex, hoping that the universe rewards them for doing the right thing. And those are the people, if you ever get a chance, take care of them. If you're staying in a hotel, honestly, the people that clean your room, leave a fucking something on the bed. Even if you're not wealthy, you got $5. Don't buy a Starbucks that day. Don't buy a Starbucks that day. To that person, that's a half hour of work. That's a half hour of work, and that's who we are. That's who we are. If you're in this room, that's who we are, most of us at least. So again, don't get me going. You guys got me all spiritual and all that shit. So let's get into that UFC, because I got some good shit for you guys. Because again, I went through all my notes. I'll share the notes that I've given the UFC so far. Here we go. So you guys see the shit I got to do every week. All right, all right. See, I'm not even done. I'm right here at this fight. Vera and Nakamura. That dude's so bad, Nakamura, dude. God damn. Yeah, he should finish Vera pretty quickly. It's just that a price is everything. All right. All right, I'm going to go through these real quick with you guys, and then we'll wrap up. I'll see any more questions and wrap up. We went too long already. So far, as you can see, dogs are out ahead. Favorites came out quickly, but dogs are out ahead. Through 4 events, favorites are 28-20 with 2 no contest, around 56%. Usually they're around 65%. So again, it doesn't mean it's going to happen in 1 week, but over time, we're going to expect a higher ratio of favorites. That's just math. It's almost like card counting. If you're playing double deck and in the first hand 4 aces come out, what do you know? That your probabilities of getting a blackjack drop tremendously, right? Well, it's like this. If we know historically 65% of favorites cover, and we're at that 56% mark, and we're only 50 fights in, and at the end of the year, we're going to be 500 fights in, we're probably going to get closer to that 65%, right? So the ratio should favor favorites. Again, that doesn't mean in the short term, but you should always have that in the back of your mind. Then we look at finishes, and we're right about where we should be, 50-50. It's always right around 50-50. It's the no contest that make the difference. Otherwise, we would be 50-50. Okay, so let's go. Volkanovski, again, I'm going to tell it bottom line. Nobody got rich fading Volkanovski, especially as a favorite, where he hasn't lost. He's 10-0. Okay, we know that. It's against the best competition in the world. His loss is only against Makhachev, who's 25-2. Okay, his wins come against not only fighters who won 76% of their fights, but have a huge sample size. So these guys had UFC fights. It's not like they're 10-2 and oh, they won 80%. No. These guys have 150 fights and won 76%. So you gotta give them high grade for strength of schedule. Topuria, usually you're gonna pay a premium. He's off 3 straight bonuses, right? We also know the challenger only wins that title about 36% of the time, and when he does, it's mostly by finish. That's a 7 out of 10 times. That's good for Topuria because he's a finisher, right? 4 of his 6 fights have ended in a finish. You see, his opponents look like killers too, 79%. But look at the sample size. Only 19 fights, right? But here's the kicker. I really do think Topuria is the side, value side. Anything plus money, because I think this is such a coin flip fight for this reason alone. Volkanovski has lost 2 of his last 3 fights, and he's coming off a fight where he got knocked down, okay? He's also now 35 years old and a featherweight. We know you don't really see 38 and 39 and 40-year-old featherweights a lot, okay? So we know the trajectory is at the end of the career. We know that. And we got a guy who's 8 years younger. We know those fighters tend to win 2 out of 3 times, all right? Now, more importantly, what did Volkanovski do of late? He's been focused on no one but Makhachev, going up in weight to 155. So his body's gone up, gone down, gone up, gone down. And his focus has been Makhachev. This guy, you know what his focus has been for the last 2.5 years, Topuria? Nothing but bulk, nothing but bulk. All he's done has been laser focused on getting that title and beating Volkanovski. The guys I trust in MMA believe he's well-rounded enough and has the skill set and with the youth to create problems. So we will be on Topuria tomorrow. I'm almost positive. Whitaker Costa. I can tell you, sharp guy I respect. Kalikas likes Costa, thinks he's live. Hasn't bet him yet, but says it's a dog or pass situation. I personally think Whitaker wins this fight, but I wouldn't lay the chalk. You know, it opened less than 200. It's now up around that 255. And again, another fighter coming off a knockout, getting knocked out, and he lost 2 of his last 3 fights. Kind of not comfortable laying chalk on a fighter that's lost 2 of his last 3 fights. So for me, that's probably going to be a pass. Ian Gary, Jeff Neal. I know everybody's talking about how Jeff Neal has that power and could be the kryptonite in a stand-up fight with Ian Gary. But I think the youth, and I also think that the range for Gary is going to be more than enough. This kid is legit, is the real deal, and even with his betting line average close of -444, he still outperformed it. Meaning the implied win probability is 82%, he's 100%. So my man's positive ROI in that favorites role. And his stock actually dropped a little because he went to a decision to Magnum. So for me, I like Gary. I think if he had finished Magny, we'd be looking at a -300 in this fight. And I hate to say it, Neal's coming in off a loss. He's lost 3 of his last 5, and we know he has those health issues he's been dealing with a lot. So for me, I will be on Gary. Next up, Merab and Cejudo. I'm hearing Cejudo's not 100%. I'm sure you guys have heard it too. It's coming from reputable people, so I want to believe it. And I always say I'm not the first to get information, so I trust the market. Does the market reflect the information? I'm never going to be the first one to get inside info, but I don't need to be the first one. I could sit back and wait to confirm it and take advantage that way. And that's what we did here. Because usually I would look to fade Merab, who's won 9 straight, You know, usually, again, in the UFC and MMA, those winning streaks are rare as you step up in level of competition. And with Cejudo, he lost to the elite with Aljo in his last fight. Prior to that, he had won 6 straight. He's one of the best combat athletes of all time, and his losses come against guys who won 84% of their fights. So I would want to look to get value on Cejudo with a little recency bias. But nope. With the reach advantage for Merab, is going to be problems for Cejudo because he needed his striking in this one. He's going to need to stuff the takedowns and use his striking. That's where his advantage is going to be. But with a reach disadvantage, that's not going to be as easy. If Merab could just stay on the outside and rush like he does to be persistent to get those takedowns, just be selective, it should be a very winnable fight for him. Should be a nice 3-round decision for Merab. Next, Hernandez. I love Hernandez. I love Hernandez over Kopylov. I think even now at the price, anything less than 300. Again, this line opened minus 150 or something, but you had 5 minutes to bet it. Within 5 minutes, it was minus 225. So it's not that much worse than where it got within 5 minutes of opener. So I'm not letting that scare me. And fortunately, he's fighting a Kopylov who's so overvalued because he's won 4 straight. But look who he's done it against. He had lost his first 2 fights in the UFC, even though he came in with a lot of hype. So what did they do? They started feeding him a couple easier fights. And his wins come against opponents who are 10 and 11, 48%. That's who that 4-fight win streak is against. Now he's going up against Fluffy. Oh, you're getting in trouble, bro, in a stand-up fight. So, yeah, give me Hernandez all day there. Lemos, Dern. I like Lemos here. The line's moved in Dern's favor. I get it, only because, again, laying that kind of chalk with Lemos, she opened minus 260. The girl's off a loss and she's 2-2 her last 4. You shouldn't be comfortable laying 260 with a fighter that's 2-2 over the last 4. But this is a girl who, when expected to win, does win. And she's 5-0 as a favorite. She's got a decent strength of schedule. And if Dern can't get her down, she's done in this fight. Like, for a 115-pounder, Lemos could crack. Lemos could definitely crack. And with one thing we've seen with Dern is she takes punishment. She can eat it, but she wears it. And it's hard when you're a female and you're wearing it for the judges to give you a decision. So for me, I'm on Lemos. I like Lemos in this one. And I gave you Nakamura. Then what's left? The ones I got to give notes to. Let me see. Oh, shit. Let me see. All right. Which were they? Zhang over Ribeiro. I love Zhang in this spot. Ribeiro was that kid from Contender Series this summer. I remember him. It was like a 500 dog. Got that lucky first round win. And now he got steamed because he came out as a dog again. And Zhang came off that road to the UFC in China. Not all that hype behind it. Didn't look that great. Getting him at a big discount at minus 120, 125. He's a big light heavyweight. Take Zhang in that spot. De Lima, you know I love De Lima against the other Tapa, against this Tapa. I think he's going to win the same outcome. I just haven't dug into the betting line yet. I'm going to do that tonight because I also have to make up that bet for UFC on the line because I used De Lima on my card for that show. Quinlan Barlow, no opinion. I think Barlow's a little bit too high and at above 200. Like, I think it's right there. That's the threshold where he does win this fight 2 out of 3 times, but now it's above that. So gun the head, I'm betting Quinlan or leaving it alone. Elliot Woodburn, I have no opinion at all. Maverick Lee, I'm a big fan of Maverick, but I wouldn't bet her in this fight if you gave me your money. I got a strong feeling this one's going to go to a decision, and if it ends in split decision, you're going to be holding your breath the whole time. That's Andrea Lee. So for me, it's one of those stayaways for sure. For sure. All right. Let's see anything else we got here. My man CJ, about to go 0-3. I could go 0-5 tonight, and I'm going to fire tomorrow, bro. I'm going to make 3,000 bet. Again, if you're not built for this, please don't take this the wrong way. But if you're betting 0.25% of your bankroll, then if we go 0-3 tonight, what did you lose? If you're following along, and doing the right thing, what did you lose? If you didn't, Yeah, it's going to sting. It's going to sting, and you're not going to be able to survive at this. And it's not even this. Like, we could go on a tear from tomorrow for the next 20 days. We could win 20 straight days, but we're going to lose again. That's what I'm promising you. That whether it comes in April, in June, in July, in September, we're going to lose. Like, if you're not built for that, you're not going to make money doing this. If you can't go on a 0-20 run and still survive it, I'm telling you, please, for your own sake, so you don't lose any money, take a step back and reevaluate the thesis, because just math alone, that's going to happen. If you're a 60% capper, that's going to happen. But the reason we bet like this is to avoid losing our bankroll, and we minimize our risk of ruin. That's why we're able to, I'm going to keep firing. I'm going to keep buying 3% bets and 4% bets, because I bet size correctly. I don't lose sleep. Whether I lose for 5 straight weeks, I don't lose sleep. I know what the end result's going to be. Like I said, we were up 50 units in January. Now we're up 20 units. We'll wake up tomorrow. What are we going to be up? 12, 13, 14? If we had lost 100 units in January and over the last 2 weeks won 112, we'd be happy. If you're looking at it over days and weeks, again, the thesis has to be reevaluated, or you're gonna lose money betting sports. This is not a week-to-week or month-to-month thing. This is a year-to-year, 1,000 bets. That's why do you think touts don't show you their records? Why do you think every tout shows you their hot streak? They're not showing you their long-term results because they're not profitable. They're showing you 12-0 because a guy that's pissed about going 0-3 wants to go. That 12-0 is going to be attractive to him. But what you need to ask is, before those 12, what about the 1,000 before that? What about the 50 before that? What about the 10 before those 12? Why are you only telling me about those 12? Why don't you tell me about your last 365 like I just told you guys? I could tell you about my last year, about the losing year, about the 5, 6, 7 straight winning years, because I do this for real. And that's why, again, I'm so glad. Thank you, C, for bringing that up. Because I'm sure, because we got a lot of new guys with the beginning of the year, because they saw how much we made last year and how easy we did it, even with getting crushed multiple times. All they had to do is follow the formula, and they increased their bankroll by 80%. Meaning, if you had 100,000, you made 80,000. If you had 250,000, you made what? What did you make? 200 grand? That's math. That's the facts. If you had 10,000, you made 8 grand. That's a good score for a $10,000 business. And we did that with a ton of 0-3s, a ton of 1-12s, a ton of 3-18s, because that's just going to happen. If you're going to win long term, you're going to have to overcome that negativity. I play blackjack where I know I'm playing negative EV hands. Like, the math is telling me that the house has the edge, and I still have to bet, because I can't just jump in when I have the edge. They won't allow that. I'll get kicked out. And in double deck, you can't even jump in mid-shoe. So unfortunately, I have to manage risk so correctly that I am able to bet negative EV bets and still profit when I'm positive EV. That discipline is why I'm able to make money betting sports, and why I took that same formula and carried it over to sports. Because I found out in blackjack, I saw the long term. That didn't happen in sports. Like, I was doing it, but I couldn't see it. In blackjack, I saw it. Because in blackjack, you put me one-on-one with the dealer, I'm getting 200 to 300 hands in. How long does it take us? And I do volume, but how long does it take us to make 200, 300 bets? It's going to take us over a month. Like I said, I could do that in an hour at blackjack. You give me 4 hours, I just did 4 months worth of sports bets. So I was able to see in blackjack that as long as I manage my risk correctly and do the right thing every time, there's no way I could lose. Like, it's on me. And I'm telling you guys, just like this right now, it's on you. We're not going to lose overall. We're going to lose along the way. Again, I am not promising you that. I'm guaranteeing you that because I don't want to disappoint you. I would be lying to you if I told you otherwise. I would not be preparing you for success if I lied to you and told you it's going to be rainbows and butterflies every week and that you could count on the books being your ATM. And here's the bad part, that sometimes it's going to look like that, where we win 8, 9, 10 straight weeks. And that's when you're going to be tempted to bet more. That's when you're going to have to fight the demons not to bet more, because those demons are going to be telling you, shit, I made $3,000. So if I just bet double, I would be up 6. That's exactly the mindset that's going to make you broke. Whether you are winning or losing, you need to stick to the blueprint. I believe that I've proven that at Wager Talk since 2017. That's not a short time. This is the 7th, 8th year we're going on. I promise you, again, I just don't want to make excuses or anything like that. I bet every one of these plays. I bet everything I give out. I know whether we're winning or losing. I don't like to lose. Are you kidding me? For me, it's double the pain, because not only am I losing, but to know that decent people that trust you with their money are also losing. But the way I sleep well at night is because I have the steam room, and I know that I tell these people how it's going to play out. I have already told you exactly how this is going to play out. I'm telling you how these next 12 months are going to play out. When December 31st comes around, Wager Talk's going to send out a tweet of who the top profit winners are. I'm going to be in the top 5 for sure. Probably minus 200, I'm going to be in the top 3. That's for sure. And even money, I'm going to be number 1. Okay? That's going to happen. Between now and then, I'm going to have hot streaks that look like I know the outcome before the game, and I'm going to have cold streaks that look like I don't even know how to pick, like I'm throwing darts, like I'm letting my dog pick the games. Those are the times you're going to have to check yourself. I have the meeting once a week to remind us all, keep us in line, myself included, but you're going to have to do it for yourself too. I'm telling you, if you're in it for the long haul, then you got to prepare yourself for how the ride's going to be. Especially you guys that signed up for the year, especially if you signed up for the year. Dude, we got 10 plus months ahead of us. We could lose the first 4 months and have it be our best year ever. And if you bet size incorrectly, you won't have a bankroll come March. And you're going to say Ace is a scammer, Ace sucks, Ace is bullshitting on December when I tell you what the results are, when Wager Talk tweets the results. You're going to say he's a scammer, he sucks, that's a lie, because you overbet your bankroll when we were losing. I want that not to happen. That's why I'm preparing you guys for that. I hope we don't have 4 straight losing months. But what I'm telling you is I've had that with the best sharp betting syndicates in the world, where we've lost. Look, I remember losing like 16 straight weeks. The sharp, I don't even want to mention the names, the sharpest like groups you could think of, losing 16 straight weeks. And you're thinking, dude, these are the best fucking gamblers on the planet. It's just probability, man. That's all. Like, unfortunately, none of us could defy it. All of us are going to have to face it, and very few can overcome it. We have the blueprint to do it, but you're going to have to. I can't do that part for you. I wish I could. I wish I could just bet for you guys. It would be easy. Just check in once a week, see how much money you're up or down. Check in at the end of the year and see how much, just like your brokerage account. Most people don't check their 401k every day. They check it once a year, a couple times a year. I wish I could do this as a 401k. Then I know everybody would make money, because no one would overbet their bet. I'd be managing their risk correctly, and we would just chop it up. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So this is our process. And again, I want you guys to benefit from it. I don't want just me to benefit from it. Like I said, I'm going to make my money. I want you guys to make your money. And more importantly, like I want to make sure if you lose, it's because I had a losing year. Again, I can't guarantee I'm going to win every year. Who could do that? But if you lose, it should be because I lost. It shouldn't be because you mismanaged risk. Because if that's the case, then again, you got to check your thesis. I had to check mine, and it was hard looking in the mirror and telling myself I was a degenerate. Like I was an idiot, that I thought I was sharp. I thought I was the man, but I'm really a fucking idiot with a lot of good context and good information. And again, I'm talking about anybody else telling you about my story. So tomorrow we got MMA. We just went over those fights, college basketball, NBA, and we cruise into baseball, baby, until another football season. Nothing but blue skies and sunshine ahead. I'm excited. Like I said, working with the best groups we could be working with at this time. And I always acquire new people, always looking for winning sources. That much is damn true. If they're winning, we're going to bet their shit. So that's what I have to say. So love you guys. Thank you, as always. Go to Wager Talk Odds, Opie. Wager Talk Odds. What are the best way to check the odds of the games when you put the plays out? Wager Talk. Go to Wager Talk. Go to Wager Talk Odds. And now they're starting that kick-ass fucking line service. The odds, Johnny will tell you, they'll even put you on the beta and shit. I have a new computer and I didn't even set that up because I had it. I've been using their service instead of the pay service forever. Thank you, Neil. God bless you guys and your families. Again, I'm very sorry we've been going through this tough stretch. Again, no one feels worse for losing money than I do, knowing you guys have lost money over this last week. And if you just signed up this last week or last 10 days, it's even worse. You haven't experienced winning. I promise you, we can't time that stuff. We can't time that shit. Come in with the right mindset and good shit's gonna happen. That's the only best advice I could give you. Like, come in with the proper mindset and game plan and you won't be disappointed. I wish it could be easy and I could be like, dude, I'm your ATM, baby. Every 2 weeks, you're gonna be able to come in and get a withdrawal. Fuck, I'd be so happy if I could do that. I just can't, man. I wish I could, I just can't. Thank you, Nick. Joe, you're the fucking man. No, I know. Honestly, bro, I love you guys. And I'm glad if people aren't happy, I want them to speak up. If people are, I love them to speak up because I know it's normal. Sports betting is anything that involves ego and money is gonna get emotional. The ego part is, am I right? Am I right? The money part is, fuck, did I lose money or win money? So you should be emotional. When I'm losing, you should be pissed at me. You should be fucking take it out on me. You should at first because you're emotional. You should be fucking Ace sucks. What the fuck? I'm paying this asshole. He's supposed to be sharp. You got all these fucking connections and you haven't fucking won in 7 fucking days. You fucking suck. That's what you should be thinking right away, immediately. That's fair. I swear to you, that's fair. I would not be pissed at all. But I think then your reasonable brain needs to kick in. And I ask, most of you are reasonable, that's why you're here. That you take a step back and when in doubt, you zoom out. And you say, okay, how did Ace do the last 3 months? What about the last 6? What about the last 12? What if I was with him for 2 years? How about if I was with him for 4 years? And then you start to see, okay, maybe Ace ain't that bad. Maybe he's just having a tough time right now. But if I stick it out, look, it worked out for those people. It's probably going to work out for me. I think most of you will come to that conclusion, do the right thing, and we'll get through it together. Others will be like, no, fuck him. He sucks. He's a scammer. I want my money back. And that's cool too. That's cool too. And if you go figure it out on your own, God bless you. I swear to God, there's no ill feelings, man. I swear to you, not like I don't need money. Everybody does. But I don't want to take money from anyone that's not going to make money. Like, I want commission. I want my money to be a commission of the money I made you. I don't want it to be like that's why I like this subscription. Like, I almost want it to be where if I don't win, like, I need the win for you for me to win. Like, I love that concept. I want my pay to come from commission from winning. At least that's how I apply that's my goal for you guys, for me to not only pay the subscription easily, but then to you to profit from it, you know, to where it was worth your time for the year and you had fun with it. I mean, what the hell? We have sharp shit, we have games. It could be a lot worse than betting on sports. So we got it pretty good. But again, I swear to God, I just want you to make sure that you guys make money. To me, that's more important than anything, that you get out of this subscription what is possible. Listen, if I'm going to have a losing year again, there's nothing I could do about that. We're all going to lose money. But if I don't have a losing year, there's zero reason anyone else should lose. Love you guys. Have a great night. Baseball's around the corner, as you said. Ernesto, I love you, brother. Thank you. I promise you, you know what you're doing. Stay the course. You know what's coming. We actually are started out better this year than last year, where we were on February, 2 weeks into February last year, we were down. So again, and you saw what happened when all the dust settled. I promise you, nothing's changed at all. Nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is I'm happier. My life is better, to where I'm in a much better mindset too. Like I'm in the optimum place mentally and in my life, everything, age, my knowledge, my experience, to be as optimum for you guys as possible. Love you guys. Be safe. Be safe above all else, man. It's a crazy world out there. Save your money. Buy some precious metals whenever. Pay yourself that 10% at least every fucking dollar you get, but put it in some precious metals. The worst that's going to happen is the world carries on beautifully, and you make a little bit of money when gold goes up in 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I'll see you guys next week. Same time. We'll find a time, place. We'll figure that out. Probably be the weekend. We'll take it from there. Thanks, guys.